Hey friend, it's the end of the first week of June. I wanted to do a little bit of a check-in with you to see how you're doing. It seems like when I talk to most people and say, how are things going? I get really two responses. One is they say, I've got a lot going on. And that could be family, it could be business, it could be whatever, health, all those kinds of things. Or they'll say, I'm really busy. I get it, but I want to encourage you. This is not the way we want to live. We don't want to live life in a way that says, I've got too much going on. I'm too busy. As a matter of fact, I used to, when I was pastoring, I would often encourage the congregation to think about our busyness and to consider whether we might use the term insidious busyness. Now, I've looked that term up a number of times because my vocabulary is a little weak, but insidious, if you look it up, it is proceeding in gradual, subtle ways with harmful effects. See, busyness creeps into our life slowly, but when we become overly busy, it's not good for our souls. We don't accomplish the things that we want to accomplish. When your thoughts or activities are keeping you from doing the things or experiencing the things that God has for you, whether those are things in your relationship with Him deepening, or they're things in your relationship with yourself, of stilling yourself or getting to know yourself, or starting to enjoy and love yourself, or whether those are things the busyness is keeping you from relating well to others, of being present, being able to listen to them actively, caringly, and lovingly, developing relationships. If your busyness is keeping you from the things God has for you, I submit to you that is a kind of insidious busyness. It is a busyness that is harmful to your soul. Now, you know, I'm kind of intense, so I got to bring that kind of stuff up. But what I want you to think about with me is that the only one who can address this busyness, the only one who can address insidious busyness in your life is you. No one else will be able to do it. And if you don't do anything to address it, I assure you it will get worse. Now, it will get worse because life is moving on at a quicker pace. It'll get worse because the enemy doesn't want you to be able to relate well to God, yourself, and to others. So I want to remind you that busyness is not a badge of accomplishment. It's not a badge of importance or productivity. It's actually, chances are, insidious busyness is really a sign of a disordered life. So I want to talk to you a little bit about what you can do this summer that I believe could be helpful to you. It's pretty simple stuff, but I want to remind you that you can't really drift towards productivity. Drifting leads to chaos. Drifting leads to entropy, to things falling apart. It takes intentionality to move ahead positively. So this summer, sometimes people relax. And really what they do is even as I mentioned recently, they'll exchange one kind of busyness for another kind of busyness and hope that it makes them feel better. But that's not how it works. So what I want to help you to do is to think about it intentionally. Think about this summer intentionally. And here's just a couple steps that you might find helpful. First of all, what are the few things that you want to accomplish this summer? Not a lot of things, not like a big to-do list. That's not what I'm talking about. What are the few things? Could be one or two, maybe three at the most, a month in June, July, or August. So jot those down. Think about it. Mull it over. It could take you more than, might take longer than a few minutes. It might take you a few even times sitting down to think about what are the main things I want to accomplish this summer. Secondly, what are the best things for your soul this summer? See, summer lends itself to some particularly rejuvenating, renewal kind of activities, but they don't just happen without planning. or they won't happen well. They won't be integrated into your life. So here, when you're thinking about what are some of the best activities for your soul, those could be activities, things that you like to do. When you do them, they bring a kind of a zest or whatever. Or what are some rhythms to your summer? Could be that you want to get up at a particular time or do some things or take a walk, whether that's in midday or at the end of the day, or what are some rhythms? What are some places that you can go to that bring renewal to your soul? I know for me, I like nature more than I think I do. I know I like it, but when I get in nature, whether it's woods or mountains, or particularly if I'm near the ocean, there's a renewal that happens. And, you know, when I lived in Boston for all those years, I would forget that. And so I'd be doing the city. And then whenever I got out near the ocean, it was like, wow. One time my wife and I did a vacation. We went from Boston to see my brother in San Diego. And in the first day we were there, we said, we want to go over, we want to spend a little bit of time over by the ocean. We were sitting up at some, on a cliff. It's at Point Loma, I think is where it is in San Diego. And we're looking down over the ocean. I just started weeping. And my wife and I are wondering, like, what's really going on? It was a kind of a release that happens with me at the ocean and a renewal. It's both happening at one time. Are there any places that are particularly renewing for you? Are there any kinds of rest that would work for you in the summer? Any things that bring renewal. So that's important. So the first two things are, what are the few things you want to accomplish? And second are, what kinds of things are best for your soul? And then once you've done that, you've considered those things a little bit, think about, and maybe scratch it out on a piece of paper, June, July, and August. Make a simple plan for what of those things you want to do or accomplish in June, in July, in August, and put it somewhere. Put this plan. Don't make it a detailed plan. This is not a like plan by half hour. This isn't even planned by day. This isn't necessarily even planned by week. This is just scoping it out, starting to educate yourself so that you can govern yourself for rest, renewal, and a kind of refreshment of your soul. And once you've kind of looked at those 3 months, I want to encourage you again. Prioritize spaciousness to combat insidious busyness. Prioritize getting some space into your soul, getting some times where it's not scheduled, where you're just getting to be. Breathe, get to be yourself. Prioritize spaciousness to combat that insidious busyness. Let's take authority over that and move it to the side. We're going to take authority, move it to the side, and breathe in some of that best for my soul kinds of things, some of the few accomplishments that I want to make. When you've done that, when you've started to think it out, you've prioritized and you're looking for that spaciousness, I want to encourage you to simply pray about it continually. Bring it up to God. You can pray about it all through the summer. Pray about it and work it out with God and live into it with God. That would make this summer what you would hope it would be. So I want to encourage you this summer, let's pursue rest, renewal, spaciousness, simplicity, and just push away, trample for good insidious busyness. In the name and in the authority of Jesus, may you have a great summer. Catch you soon.